tennis courts over there. Central Park is one of the largest parks in the world. It is centered on the island of Manhattan. Central Park runs from north at 110th Street, which is the beginning of Harlem, and it goes all the way down to 59th Street in Manhattan. Manhattan is only about 12 miles long. It's actually an island. There are more than 2 million people who live here in Manhattan. This is one of the places. I live on the island of Manhattan. This is one of the places in Central Park where I come to get my exercise. People come here from all over the world to run, to exercise. There is more to Central Park than that. I love it because of the nature. Beautiful trees. I'm heading right now to a very famous landmark here in Central Park, which is called the Reservoir. In fact, it is named after Jackie Kennedy Onassis, President Kennedy's wife, because she used to jog around this reservoir. It's a wonderful, peaceful place to jog or to walk. Watch the sunset or the sunrise. People are out here from early morning. To late in the evening. You can see the ducks come from all over the world. Just having a peaceful swim in the cold water. Sun is setting in the west, so I don't want to shoot into the sun, but a little bit of it. This is me. I'm Reverend Dr. Glen Misick, right here in New York. Just giving you an introduction to my documentary, Reclaiming the Culture and Heritage of the Turks and Caicos Islands. And just wanted to let you know a little bit about some of us who live in New York and quite often dream about being back in the Turks and Caicos. But we do have some of the good stuff in New York too. So I just wanted you to see Central Park, a little bit of Central Park. It's a huge park. Skyscrapers over there make up New York. John Lennon lived not too far from here. He died here. He got killed in a place called Strawberry Fields. Each year they go over there and commemorate his life. This is a wonderful reservoir. Actually see the water spot over there. It's world famous. This water is actually fresh water and it's used as a reservoir for some of the water that come into New York City. New York City has some of the best water in the world. As you will hear me say, I am a nature person. I love nature. It's good to know that living here in this concrete jungle, I can just take a short walk over here to Central Park and feel a sense of being in tune with nature. It's a wonderful thing. I thank God for the blessing of the beautiful trees. You really don't get to see it that much in the leaves are not on the trees in the wintertime, but in the springtime and in the summertime, it is beautiful. There's beautiful trees, beautiful leaves, beautiful flowers. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. I am here in what we call the wells here in Grand Turk. This is normally, whenever it rains, this place would be flooded with water. And this is where the animals come. The cows, the donkeys, horses would come to drink their water, but also because of the lack of fresh water on Grand Turk, many people would come down and get the water. The water was not that healthy or tasty, but at least it was water. The only way we got fresh water back in the day growing up was through the tanks, catchment tanks from the top of the house. Didn't bother us back then. Today, you would have to put a tablet in it, a chlorine tablet, to keep from getting not poison, but malaria or whatever. But these are some of the wells over here too, where people come and see people still use them to feed their animals, get the water. The water is sort of brackish water. But one of the significant things too is that this is where we would come as young people, particularly young boys. Whenever we were out of school, we would come, we call this coming in the bush. We would come here. Sometimes we were forced to drink the water because the sun was so hot and we were thirsty. But we also would go in some of these bushes back here, and we knew how to survive because we were trained as Sea Scouts, and we would hide under some of those bushes at 12 o'clock in the day. We knew how to get out the sun because it was extremely hot. And we knew how to make a fire. If we wanted to catch what we call a pack-a-dog, a little quail, and we would roast it and eat it. We knew how to find berries. And I will show later on some grape trees, which were really blueberries to eat. We knew how to, as I said, to dig, even find what are called rock holes. What we call the ridge. It's a view of the whole part of the island of Grand Turk. You can see the creek there, North Creek, and some houses. Ocean out there. If I had to zoom, I could zoom all the way to when the tide is low and see the island of South Caicos. But not only can you see South Caicos from here, but you can also see Salt Key on the south side of the island, which is only about 9 miles from here. Headed towards the Lighthouse, so we can get a close up of that. These are homes homes over here. Some were destroyed by the hurricane and they've been rebuilding them. People with a little more means. They are on the ocean side over there. We'll get a view of that on the way back. But we're headed towards where it used to be back in the day, the naval base. This is another view of the ocean there, the north end of the island. Breeze feels so good. The island breeze cools you off and helps you to relax. This is the community college, part of the community college here now in the Turks and Caicos Islands. It used to be the naval base when I was growing up. United States Naval Base. A lot of action went on here. A lot of sailors and other people. They had barracks. You can see the barracks that they're now using for the community college. And they have another branch of the community college in Providenciales. Normally you would see a lot of tourists here, but today is Friday. So I chose it because the tourists are not piled up here, that you can't get to be a view. There are donkeys, and there's the lighthouse, famous lighthouse that saved a lot of ships from wrecks going way back, I think into almost the 1700s. And, played a great role for not only the United States government, but the British government, which still owns these islands. These are colonies of England. And, a lot of history here, a lot of pirates. It is a historic site. It's a beautiful place to visit whenever one comes to the Grand Turk. A lot of cruise ships come in Grand Turk. These donkeys can be a nuisance with all the stuff in the ground, but somehow back in the day it was the transportation, and they have decided to keep them here. Look out there, you will see the Atlantic Ocean. Way out, and next up, if you were to take a boat and just keep going, that's east. You would run into Africa. No other lands there. Beautiful homes. Looks like they've been repaired from the hurricanes. Some people that I know, and up. This is North Creek, and the other end of the island is called. There's another creek, a smaller one, which is called South Creek. That's where my father would take his sailboat to be repaired. It's very protective from the hurricanes. Other storms. You can still see the ravages of the two hurricanes in 2017. A lot of these trees are called cassia trees. I've seen them in Africa, and they're prickly, but we knew how to hide under them to get shade. Those trees back there, I had a lot of my birds. We would get the bird eggs, and sometimes we would not. A lot of pelicans and other kinds of birds, exotic birds. We did not kill them. We knew the difference. But we spent some wonderful times. Just coming, we would call it going in the bush. Coming down here, just particularly during the holidays from school, and just exploring. That's why today I'm still a nature person. I love watching nature programs, and I'm glad that they are preserving some of these trees and lakes or creeks, as we call them. Young people don't know what it's like to really be a part of this and to explore it. I remember that tree, that big tree right back there. I remember going up there and finding bird nests, getting some eggs. We knew whether the eggs were ready. We had a wonderful time as young people, as children growing up, particularly young boys. The girls didn't come down here. Young boys, we knew how to come and explore, and I'm sure that our fathers and our forefathers did the same thing as we did, because where did we learn that from? We had to have gotten it from them, and they told us about it and probably at first showed us, but I believe it came natural for us to come down here and just spend a day in the bush. There are some, we're still down here by North Creek in Grand Turk, and if you look carefully, you'll see some donkeys over there eating, look like they've had a little rain, eating green grass. And there's some water there. They still have lots of donkeys here on the island. We used to ride donkeys. They belong to people. I don't know what they use them for anymore. They just run wild. They had donkeys, and we had horses that we would ride. I used to like riding horses and going in the ocean and swimming in the ocean with horses, riding horses. That was a wonderful thing to do. Again, over here, there's some donkeys right there, hiding under the cassia trees. In the heat of the day, it's around 11 a.m. in the morning now, but around 12 o'clock when that sun gets hot, the thing you had to do was find a shade under a tree or someplace and get out of the heat. Also had to find water to survive. I mean, my goodness, this was just like the show Survivor. We knew how to survive, and as I said, I learned a lot of it from being a Sea Scout. They taught us all the survival skills. We would go on jamborees in the summertime. Sometimes we would go to the other islands. Sometimes we would come down this way and set up camp. Had a wonderful time with our scoutmasters and others who trained us on survival skills. Even though I come from a family of 5 sisters, and my mother, and we had other people, but I learned how to cook from being in the Sea Scouts. Still can't cook too well, but at least I learned how to cook there. We learned how to cook by sometimes finding birds and other weren't too many other things we could find down here, and fish, of course, we would get from the creek over to my right over here, and straight ahead is the Lighthouse, very important in the history of these islands. Played a pivotal role during the Cuban Missile Crisis. On the back of that lighthouse is just pure ocean, deep ocean, deep water, and a lot of submarines. would be out there. The United States government had, next to the lighthouse, they had a naval base here at that time. And on the south end of the island, they had an Air Force base, in fact, a guided missile base, which played, again, an important role during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I knew a lot about it because my father and his brothers were Marine pilots, and I would often go out with them to the ships that they would pull over, ships from China. We called it Red China back then, ships from Russia. I saw the weapons in the ship whole. That was an experience that I really never fully understood until I got older, but we were really living on the brink of global destruction. The Bay of Pigs and Cuba was building up nuclear missiles, and the United States, right here from Grand Turk, controlled all the traffic that came from Europe or Russia or Asia, and they had to pass by Grand Turk. There's the ocean right out there. This is the entrance to North Creek. And boats would come here. There's a little channel there that's cut out. The tide is low right now, but quite often we come right here. If you throw your line right out here, you catch a big snapper or a barracuda. And there's a bar out there, we call it a bar, sandbar, that where you can walk, we would walk out there and just catch conchs, just pick up conchs. And we knew how to crack the shell of the conchs and eat them. We would eat the conchs raw, but if we also knew how to run down fish, and we knew how to catch fish, even without lines. But most of the time we had lines, and we would, you would say, how did you cook the fish? We knew how to start a fire as Boy Scouts, Sea Scouts. And we would roast the fish and eat the fish. Boy, did that taste good. And we knew how to find water, fresh water, rock holes. We knew how to dig. My goodness, that was just literally in our blood. I guess as young people of African descent, we knew how to survive. Grand Turk is a place that I hope they keep a lot of this land, this beautiful land, and this beautiful entrance here to this huge creek. Boats can come in, even big boats. I think they have dredged this so that boats can come in. Boy, this is where I spent a lot of time. You have a nice island breeze blowing, and there is the ridge where people have built beautiful homes, and but this island is in danger now. It is the capital of the Turks and Caicos Islands, but they've moved a lot of the offices to the island of Providenciales, which has seen tremendous development over the last 30 years, 20, 30 years, and it's still moving. A lot of wealthy people are moving there, but our native population is in 2018 is now down to 13%. Many of them live right here on Grand Turk and in the Salt Key and the South Caicos, Middle Caicos, North Caicos, and Providenciales. But a lot of them had to leave these islands to go away for education and to find work. So we hope that some of them will come back. It is my hope that this documentary will encourage some of our young people in particular to come back and to reap some of the harvest of these islands where our fathers died, these islands of Pilgrim Pride, these islands in the sun, beautiful islands in the sun, some of the best beaches in the world.